You don't have to be half sober to realize Darwinists are always up to something. Uh, it's GCSE time, and millions of students all across the world is preparing for exams and stuff. So my cousin is as well. He's doing GCSEs at the moment. I'm supposed to be tutoring him, and I don't really pay attention. I just let him. Hopefully my auntie's not watching this, but anyway, I just let him. Uh, do the paper or whatever. I just sit there and I'm on my phone. Anyway, I was supposed to be helping him in biology with this particular paper, GCSE Science A Biology AQA, right? And this is a past paper from May 2017. Anyway, so when I wasn't really paying attention, I was just like, oh, just have to do this exercise. I just came across some blatant propaganda of Darwinists in a GCSE science paper, right? So imagine this is a biology paper. And what do you expect from this paper? Well, you expect they want children to know about, what is this? Biomass, right? Plants, liquids, organs. You got a funky diagram there. They want kids to, stick a pin somewhere. I don't know what. Basically biology stuff, right? Plants, animals, whatever, right? All this good stuff. So amongst this, the Darwinists have decided, let's do a little bit of brainwashing while we're at it. Okay, so you can check this out for yourself. Question 2B. In the 1870s, cartoons of Darwin looking like a monkey were published in magazines. The cartoons were published after Darwin wrote a book about his theory of evolution. This is a sociological issue, nothing to do with biology. Let's see what the mark scheme says. This is 2B. I'm actually paying more attention here than I was when I was teaching my cousin. But anyway, 2B. And 2B, they wanted to discredit his theory. Okay. They want to discredit his theory. Nothing to do with science. This is a sociological issue. 2B2. Give 2 reasons why Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection was only gradually accepted. Let's not have 2, let's have 15. There is actually a lot of reasons why his theory was not accepted. I've mentioned them in previous videos, alternative mechanisms, what else? The fact that there wasn't enough evidence and so on and so forth. Anyway, let's see what the answer sheet says, and this is the answer sheet. Published by, who is it by? Oh yeah, these same AQA guys, right? So the answer is Darwin's theory challenged the idea that God created life. Okay. What's that got to do with biology? What's that got to do with science? We've moved on from, a sociological issue, which was the previous one, to a theological issue. Okay, firstly, let's break this down. Darwin's theory did not challenge the idea that God created life, not even according to Darwin himself. Okay, so even to pass that particular question and to get those marks, you would have to basically say something which is incorrect, which is that Darwin's theory challenged the idea that God created life. What are they trying to do? What are these humanists, Darwinists, atheists trying to do? They're trying to prime school children, right? They're trying to get them to think, people are making fun of Darwin. The reason why I'm making fun of Darwin is because Darwin challenged the idea that God existed. Well, okay, do you know what? Partially that could be true, but that shouldn't be in a science textbook. That shouldn't be in a science, paper. There's plenty of reasons why Darwin's theory was not accepted by people who were irreligious, and who challenged him. And there were people who were religious, who believed in Christianity, like Charles Lyell, who, not Charles Lyell, what's his name? I've forgotten his name. Asa Gray. Asa Gray, who was a supporter of Darwin, who was a evolutionist, who believed in human chimpanzee history, believed in the tree of life, believed in all these things, right? So the whole idea that, it was just like religion versus science, this is all nonsense. But it's a very powerful way of priming children against religion and God, and getting them to think, oh, why did they do this? It must have been because of this. Now let's flip the situation. So we have the exact same opposite situation happening in physics. In physics, we had a theory, which was the eternal universe theory, static state theory, which was accepted by physicists all across the world. Now, this particular theory obviously fitted hand in glove with atheism because the universe is eternal. If the universe is eternal, the universe doesn't need a creator. Therefore, according to them, there was no God. Now, there's obviously problems with that argument. But anyway, even people like Bertrand Russell, when he was debating that guy, that Christian guy on radio, he said the universe is a brute fact. That we don't need to explain it. So the Big Bang came along, which challenged this static state model. Now, what happened with the Big Bang model? The Big Bang model supposedly gave more air to the theists because they're saying the universe had some sort of beginning. So there was one section of the world, large section of the world, which was dragging its feet in accepting the Big Bang. In fact, it was rejecting the Big Bang in its beginning. And this large group was doing it purely out of religious fever. Who are these people? These were the Soviets, the communists, the atheists. They believed in communism, atheism, and for them, the universe being eternal made perfect sense. So this whole idea of the Big Bang didn't make sense to them, so they dragged their heels in accepting that theory. Eventually, they had to. But that is a sociological fact which morphs into a theological fact. Why isn't that in a physics paper? Why aren't kids marked according to that? Why aren't kids primed against atheism? Look how stupid atheists were. When there was a particular scientific theory which was going against their worldview, they were dragging their feet. And by the way, to pass this particular physics paper, here's the answer sheet. You have to say that atheists were rejecting this theory because it gave credence to the idea that God created the universe. If that was the case, number one, it would prime children, school children, against atheism. Two, there would be an uproar. There would be all these atheists, crying about how GCSE science papers are priming children against atheism and in favor of theism. Well, the exact opposite is happening in biology. And in fact, this is probably just one small example which I came across when I was half paying attention. Imagine how many other examples there must be out there, and they are out there, where there's these subtle techniques of priming people, even people who have absolutely no idea about science or evolution or, the theory or the assumptions behind it, but just priming them against religion and priming them against God using these very powerful psychological techniques. For more information about why Darwinism is not absolutely true, it's based on a probabilistic framework which has assumptions and there's disputes about its most fundamental ideas, make sure you subscribe to Darwinian Delusions.